today I'm going to teach you how to do this. Even if you have never learned a calisthenics skill before, by going through these 5 levels, you will be able to achieve the tuck planche. Let's start with level 1, planche leans. I'm going to show you how to do a planche lean, but ideally you want to be able to do a 30-second plank before starting with this. So first of all, you want to make sure your elbows are externally rotated. So you see this is internally rotated and this is external. Make your bicep face forwards. Okay, so you want to turn out your hands 45 degrees, extend your legs, and then all you're going to do is lean forwards and protract your scapula. Now, some people might find level 2 easier than level 1. What we're going to do is we're going to work on the stabilizing muscles, which are very important for tuck planche. Level 2 is support hold. This is how the support hold should look on rings. If you don't have rings, then you can do it on any dip bar. This will help you get used to lifting up your whole body weight. And you just hold it like this. Now ideally we do this with rings, but if you don't have rings, this is a good alternative. Level 3 is a bit more exciting. We're going to be learning 2 skills, or one. You can choose either one, or you can learn both. So level 3 is wrist conditioning. This is the frog pose and the crow pose. These skills will help to condition your wrists, which is very important to avoid injuries when doing skills like the tuck planche. So to get into the frog pose, you are going to put the inside of your knee right here on this part of your elbow. You just put it inside like this, and then all you have to do is lean forwards. Don't jump, just lean forward until the weight is taken off your feet. And you can float like this and just hold it for as long as you can. Now I'm going to show you how to do the crow pose. Crow pose is slightly different. You put your knee on the upper part of your arm, such as your elbow, but it's not the inside of your knee, it's the front of your knee, like this. Now, you don't need to be scared when doing these skills, because it is really easy to just put your feet back on the floor and drop them down whenever you feel unstable, so you won't land on your face. You should work up to 10 seconds on both of these skills before moving on to the next level. There is another variation called crane pose. You do not need to learn this because it is harder than the tuck planche, I would say. I don't know why. I think it's because I just find it painful. It's like the crow pose, except your arms are completely straight and your knees are digging into the back of your elbows. Or they could be like up to your armpits, like here. I've never done the crane pose before, to be honest, because I find it painful and it's not necessary for learning the tuck planche. But if you can do it and if it's helping you, I definitely recommend it. This level is my favorite. It is tuck planche raises. Now these are really helpful, and this is how you do it. If you are struggling with tuck planche raises, don't worry, because I have another exercise for you that should help, which is getting into the tuck planche position like this and lifting one foot off the ground and just holding it, leaning forwards. And if you feel comfortable to lift the other foot, you can, or you can do switches. Level 5, assisted tuck planche. I'm going to be using parallettes for this, but you don't need parallettes. You just need resistance bands and something to tie the resistance bands to. I highly recommend getting resistance bands because they can help you with every single calisthenics skill there is. So the resistance bands that I use are called Fit Beast, and I like these ones as there's loads of different levels of resistance. So you get different amounts of assistance with each one. Tuck planche is easier on parallette bars because you're elevated, so it's easier to take your feet off the floor. And for beginners, you can practice doing low tuck planche, but as you get stronger with the position, you can raise higher. You simply want to loop it over and loop it through and pull it down. So it'll be like this. And then when you're getting into it for the tuck planche, you want to put it around your waist. It's very important that when you're doing the tuck planche, you're directly below the resistance band. And that is exactly why with this pull-up station, I'm not going to do this. Because the parallette bars are further forwards. So if I were to do that, the resistance band will be pulling me back. So what I'm going to do is loop it around these dip bars. But first I'm going to get over this side. And you can see the resistance band is directly above the parallette bars. It needs to be directly above where you're doing the tuck planche. That is very important. Now to get into the tuck planche position, remember we are externally rotating, protracting, getting into the position with one foot down, lifting it and holding it, making sure to lean forwards as much as needed and just hold it for as long as you can. And you can even practice tuck planche push-ups if you're using a resistance band. So this is going to help massively with your tuck planche strength, so I highly recommend getting resistance bands. You might have the problem where you can't even lift your feet off the ground with the resistance band, and that's fine, that's a very common problem. And if this happens, what you can do is use 2 resistance bands to wrap them both around your waist, and that should provide you with enough assistance. Or you could even use 3, but I don't really recommend doing that, mainly because if you're using too much assistance, you're not going to be working your muscles. The resistance bands are going to be doing all of the work, and it just won't help you. So use the least amount of resistance possible while still being able to get into the position. When I started learning the tuck planche, I couldn't even lift my feet off the ground, not even for a millisecond. I mean, I could jump my feet into the air, but it just wasn't happening. But once you start leaning forwards enough, getting that protraction right, and just practicing, you can time it. You'll get milliseconds of your feet being in the air. And every millisecond counts when it comes to the tuck planche. Every millisecond is progress. And that's how it happened for me. It would increase every single time I would practice, and I'd be lifting my feet off the floor for milliseconds, and that turned into seconds, and that can turn into minutes of doing the tuck planche with consistent practice. If you want to time your tuck planche attempts, I wouldn't recommend using a stopwatch, because that's what I was doing in the beginning. And it's just not as helpful as if you were to record yourself. Because if you record yourself, you can see your form, you can make sure that you're doing it correctly. And you also don't have to press the timer, get into position, and then you're adding time that you want in the tuck planche position. So if you want to track your time, you can record it and measure the exact time where your feet lifted off the ground. Parallettes are good for beginners practicing tuck planche because of the elevation, and also because it helps to prevent wrist pain. So practice this. I hope this video helps. Comment below what skill you are working on after 30 days. I want you to edit your comment, and even if you've progressed by just milliseconds, that is progress. So I want you guys to be commenting how you're doing it, what you're working on, and motivating each other in the comments. I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, let me know. Goodbye.